Hello, everybody. This is my presentation of Lockheed Martin. So, Lockheed Martin is the largest defense contractor in the world. They service over 50 different countries. Primarily, the US is where they're based. They do most of their deals through the United States Congress. However, being a defense contractor obviously doesn't, service itself super well to being a company with good CSR and it's very ethical. And let me tell you something, Lockheed Martin doesn't do a great job when it's already not very easy. So let's start with their human rights violations. So they have a long history of this. Whoops, that presentation jumped forward. They have a long history of human rights violations. As a defense and weapons manufacturer, when you sell weapons to another country, it is your responsibility if that country or that group that you sold to does something bad with your weapons, you are responsible, obviously, as you should be. However, Lockheed Martin doesn't seem to think so, at least when it actually comes to it. So in 2022, Lockheed Martin released a human rights report. Um, it didn't really say much. And you'll see this with their sustainability report as well. It's a lot of corporate PR speak that doesn't really say a lot. It's kind of walking around words. Yes, we pledge to, it actually states, we believe that respect for human rights is an essential element of being a good corporate citizen and the long term success of the company. It's a bold statement. Um, but when push comes to shove, they hide behind the US government constantly, saying that any criticism of their actions is a criticism of US foreign policy and therefore the US government. And who wants to go against the US government in America? They also have plenty of issues with countries using their weapons and committing pretty heinous war crimes and horrific human rights violations. One of the most notable was when Saudi Arabia used one of their laser guided Lockheed Martin Mk 82 bombs to blow up a school bus full of children in Yemen, leaving 40 dead. Children dead. Who knows how many were injured? Just horrific incidents. This was reported by IBAN International in 2019. Um, Israel has been using Lockheed Martin, weapons for many, many years. They used it in Lebanon in 2006, and they killed well over 1,000 people and displaced about 1 million civilians. Um, and then in Gaza, of course, the horrific acts that Israel has been committing there it has, Lockheed Martin weapons have been key in all of that. And Amnesty International, which is a very well known organization, a human rights organization, reached out in 2019 to Lockheed Martin, alongside 22 other weapons manufacturers. And they basically did absolutely nothing to explain to Amnesty International the steps that they actually tangibly took to try and mitigate human rights violations when it came to the Saudi Arabian and United Arab Emirates coalition campaign in Yemen. So they're really not great on human rights. They have not done a good job of really, providing tangible evidence, doing research into where their own weapons even go, really. Um, all right. And so sustainability, moving on here. So again, another area where they don't do great on. The American military industrial complex is the largest producer of carbon emissions in the entire world. This was a statistic from 2018, I believe, or 2019. The largest single source of greenhouse gas emissions in the world, according to the Brown University Costs of War project. 205 million tons of CO2 were produced by the American military. And this is in comparison to the entirety of the EU's military. Like all of those countries in the EU, their militaries, just 24.8 million tons of CO2. Like it's a tenth, an entire group of countries a tenth of what the American military produced, which is just incredible to me. Um, they are a large party responsible and is their massive cog of the machine. They've funded, the American government as of 2018 has funded 70% of Lockheed Martin's revenue, and that only continues to go up year over year as more conflicts happen, as we continue to support efforts overseas in Ukraine and in Israel now. Just so much. Now, they have in 2022, they released their annual sustainability performance report. And it's a very similar story to their human rights report from 2022. It is a lot of talk and not a lot of evidence. In fact, in their actual sustainability report, they don't even have, they link to the numbers. They don't have the numbers in the report, which kind of means that it's not great if you have to go outside the report to find the numbers. And it's exactly what you find when you go into the numbers. The numbers are not great. They actually have a higher total energy consumption than 2021. They used more jet fuel, less electricity and renewable energy in 2022. And their total emissions for the year appear to be lower, but that's only because they used less electricity during the year. They had more jet fuel. Their other numbers were very, very close. Like the difference that they are actually quote unquote making is so minimal for a company of their size and the amount that they pollute. They should 100% be doing more. Um, They have also been involved in several lawsuits now from a facility in Florida that reportedly has been leaking toxic waste for decades now. They've been using, toxins. And according to the lawsuit, Lockheed Martin has allegedly stored toxins in leaking storage tanks, collected and transported waste in leaking underground piping systems, and dumped tons of toxic waste inside trenches dug at the Orlando weapons manufacturing facility. And that is from an article from the Orlando Sentinel. Um, so, yeah, just more not great actions from Lockheed Martin here. And now here are the CSR recommendations. So they have a lot to do if they want to get on the right path. They want to get to be a good company with good CSR and good ethics and good morals. They have a long way to go. The first step has to be addressing the human rights issue. They should hire some third party, organizations to come in and audit, do their own audits, look at who they're selling to, and really evaluate. Like, hey, we're selling to these countries. These countries are taking our weapons and using them for things that we claim we don't stand for. We need to not incentivize profit over what we stand for as a company. They're a defense company, but they prioritize profit. And how do you prioritize profit as a defense company? You seek out conflict. So supplying weapons constantly to conflict ridden regions only increases the amount of conflict. They have more weapons, they make more money. So really, it's extra important for a defense company to not be a profit seeking company and to something that actually has a real mission. Um, so they need to audit and take full responsibility for those human rights violations. They should be creating stricter company wide policies relating to their customers, to who they sell to. They should be creating more tangible goals to be more sustainable. They should, increase their use of renewable energy by, 100 or 200% in the next 5 or 10 years. There's no reason why they should not be doing that. And they should also be producing more defense systems that are sustainable. A lot, they sell fighter jets and missile systems and all this kind of stuff that uses fossil fuels to run. And they should definitely be looking into making their systems more sustainable. And the last thing is just to settle that Florida lawsuit. There were 67 different plaintiffs with 34 completely different like illnesses from the substances that were, or sorry, dozens of different substances from dozens of different side effects from like 34 different substances. It's ridiculous. It's gross. It's disgusting. Also, this tweet, last thing, very funny. This was from when Elon Musk first took over the platform of Twitter. And so this was a fake account that made this, but this is what they should be tweeting, really. All right. And there's the project. I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great break.